Good afternoon, everybody. Hello, and welcome to this week's edition of Office Hours with Angel and Livis and Meredith Moore Crosby. Meredith, what you got for us today? What you want to kick us off with?
Well, this is episode 9, and so we are excited to be talking about how to leverage your tribe or your village when you're in a crisis. So many people now, between coronavirus and a variety of just the waves of impact of cancellations, are feeling frightened. They don't know what to do, and they don't even know where to start or where to go to for answers. So that is the topic of the day, Angel. I'm excited.
Yay! All right, so do me a favor, Meredith. Can you type that in our comments, and then I'll have it appear on the screen for whenever people decide to join us, they will know what is happening. All right, so this has been such a amazing week, and I say amazing because there's been so many different things that have happened. Sometimes amazing isn't always like the best, but sometimes it's just like awesome to be able to say, I made it through whatever this situation was. And so I'm going to start off the conversation talking about a situation that I overcame this week. And then I'm going to ask Meredith to share a situation that she overcame this week, because I think it's important to share, even if it's just those small wins, just to let people know, like, hey, you're not in these battles by yourself. We're all battling something. As Meredith stated earlier, we got this crazy virus that is going around. But we are hopeful and we are prayerful that all things are going to work out for all of our good. So, the situation that I overcame this week, so I had been in this like crunch situation of trying to find a place to live. Yes, a place to live. And it's crazy because last week's show for the Woman Behind the Business talk show, my guest, her moment from the valley was she had got divorced, she left her husband, she had 3 children, and then they ended up homeless. And I remember sitting there listening to her statement, and I'm like, oh God, I hope this doesn't end up being my situation. Like, not to say that there's anything wrong with being in that place, because everybody has their own journey. But for me and where I am, I just didn't want that to be my truth. And so I just remember sitting and listening and being like, oh my God, like, how can I do whatever I can to make sure that I avoid this situation? And my situation was essentially I need to move from where I am by a certain time frame. And I was just very grateful that I was able to find a place in a very short amount of time. I would say it took me about 2 weeks to locate a place, go see a bunch of different places in that time frame, and get sold on a particular location, and was able to get the keys actually yesterday. So that is my win for the week. And I think, some people might be thinking, oh, well, it's easy. Like, you just go, you find something. If you have good credit and you have money, then you can. Sometimes it's not that simple. And sometimes you don't always know what people's situation is, what their financial situation is, or what their credit situation is, due to unforeseen circumstances. So when I say it was a huge win, I don't even think y'all understand how grateful I was and the amount of prayer that went into that situation ahead of time. But I had a village of people who I know was also praying and, hoping that everything would work out for my ultimate good. So I'm grateful to all of those who were praying for me to ensure that, my situation worked out. Thank you, Meredith. Thank you to a host of other people. I don't want to just start dropping names, but I am so grateful because I know that it wasn't just on my own account, but it was the support of the people around me who knew what was going on that was able to make sure that I was taken care of. What was your win for the week, Meredith?
Well, first of all, I think that's such a huge thing. I've already told you, but we already know that your love language is words of affirmation. So I'd like to take a minute to just such a huge moving, right? We've talked about this. This is up there with like the big things that we have to do in our life, and you do it with such grace. Even just in showing up week to week, like this is hard to show up, to make this time, to go look cute, even if it is for an hour, and you have done it. And so I just want to say, thank you, because I know that we have similar leadership styles of like, you do it because you want to inspire other people to do it, and you want to be a role model, and you want to be an example for your community and for your kids. And so I just applaud you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, so my win for the week, or challenge for the week. So I am in a number of membership organizations for Black women professionals because I've growing up in Minnesota, I never just had that community, so I've always been very intentional in reaching out, participating, going to retreats, right, like Vision 2020, so that I can build that tribe that not only can support me professionally, but understands me culturally, right? Like Minnesota is a complete culture. And one of my responsibilities has been to advocate legislatively. And, you know, I never wanted to see myself as a political person, but the more that things happen, and the more that as a business owner, as a mom, as just a woman, I'm impacted by either our actions or our lack of actions. I just like lost it this weekend. And I'm already a passionate person. If you're listening, you can probably hear that just in my voice. I get a lot of feedback about, well, I'm really passionate. And even getting unstuck, I talk about that, like those microaggressions. But luckily, the win is there's a few messages in my inbox that I need to respond to because a few people were motivated. You know, I think I can have a very persuasive, positive, passionate style, and sometimes in a crisis, it can be too much for people, and they can't engage because it can feel overwhelming. So it was a win for me that I was having like a moment, a crisis of faith about my sisters, and that we do care, and I'm believing that even if my role is just to lead us to the mountaintop, man,
you're going to get us there.
I'm not running for office. I'd like to say that officially. In case anybody cares.
So let me ask you this, Meredith. When it comes to managing crisis, because like I said earlier, everybody has something that they're dealing with. I don't know one person that doesn't have, like, whether it's as major as looking for a place to live so they don't end up homeless, or something as major as missing their period and being like, yo, like, is this thing gonna come? Like, it's literally something for every, like, these are like real life stories that I've had in the last like 24 hours. So, like, these are real things, right, that people are dealing with.
Other people.
Yeah, no, not one of us. Not one of us. Let's be clear. Not one of us. But, like, what are some things that people can do to manage these kind of, like, crisis situations where they're just like, yo, how am I going to get through this? And sometimes we are very reactive to dealing with certain situations. What would your thoughts be?
Yeah, I mean, I think anything, first of all, for me, a crisis is anything when it's time-bound, and there are decisions that you are going to have to make, and there's information that you don't have. It's a very simple way to think about a crisis, right? Like, a lot of times, to your point, people do think it has to be something really big, but in all those situations, what you're missing is critical information for you to, like, land this plane, right? Like, that's a crisis. I'm in a plane, and I don't know the location, I don't know the whatever it might be.
Right.
So the first thing I always tell people is, you want to put as much time between yourself and a decision as possible, right? You don't want to rush if you don't have to. So the first thing you want to do is, like, let's stick with the plane. Like, check your gas. How long can we keep this sucker up in the air? So, like, being really self-aware and knowing yourself, this is where self-care, self-love comes in, right? Because you don't know how long this crisis is going to last, and you have to last through it. So that first step really is checking in with yourself. For me, limiting that anxiety, like, we're not at the worst case scenario. Planes have still landed after having incidents. We're going to get through this, right? And then the next step is you have to get more information. So, like, really becoming a student of the problem, really being curious and not making assumptions, right? And the third one is my personal, like, communications, brand and reputation. Angel helped me with, like, how do you say this the right way? But, like, you have to manage confidentiality in a crisis, right? Even if you aren't panicking, other people are. So if you're out there talking, and this is what I think, and this is what I know, and you're somebody who at some point has positioned yourself as a leader or an expert, you are really setting yourself up to be in a really difficult situation because, again, going back to the second point, you don't know. You don't know.
Right.
So you don't want to put yourself out there at this point unless, point 4, you know exactly how you can help. If you're really clear about how you can add value, like let's say you're on that plane and you're a pilot and you know where somebody can send you some gas and you got a special, please raise your hand. Do not wait for them to think that that's something that they need.
Right.
So that like 3.5 would be working with somebody like you to get clear about what is that value add so that you're clear about when to use it. Like when should I jump into the conversation? And it's not being opportunistic. It's not me like trying to take advantage of a crisis, right? Because nobody likes that.
Right.
Those are the people that coming out of it lose, typically, right? Like, I mean, unless you really got it right, but if you didn't, you remember for not getting it right.
Right, and jumping out there too soon and not necessarily knowing what you're talking about. It's so funny because, like, that's one of the things that I feel like people sometimes want to take advantage of certain opportunities because we say, like, hey, if there's an opportunity, go after it, right? But you also want to make sure that you are very clear and concise with what's your purpose. Like, why are you here? Why are you jumping out there, and putting yourself at the forefront of something unless you have a problem that you're solving? Stand down, or even maybe if you are a subject matter expert on a particular situation and you're able to provide like a level of just understanding, some clarity, then that's worth it, right? Because you know more than I do, and if you can share some knowledge with me to get me up to speed and make me a little bit more at ease about whatever this problem is or whatever the situation is, then you're adding value. But if you just want to go out and attack somebody or, you know, just say something just so you can start building awareness around yourself of, you know, who you are and what you're saying, it's not necessarily beneficial. And it, like you said, Meredith, it could backfire. Mm-hmm. So, no, I think those were all very good tips. Yeah, you have to celebrate. You have to celebrate yourself.
I'm telling you, like, especially when, can I add that to my tips when you're in a crisis? Like, you have to have some, like, moments of joy. Because if you just keep yourself in this, like, oh my God, all these things are happening. What am I going to do? It is exhausting. It is mentally exhausting. So, like, getting to the point where you can, like, hey, I did something right. That's a thing.
It is. Now, let me ask you this. Okay, and these are, again, y'all, these are all real things that have happened, like, the last, like, I can say 24 hours.
To other people.
To other people. But, like, I hear about it, whether it's clients or whatever. So, how would you handle, or how would you suggest handling, when you have to show up for other people, but you are in a personal crisis? Like, you have these personal things that you are going through. No one knows that you're going through these situations. And you still have to put on the dress, throw on the makeup, and show up. How can you do that successfully without having breakdowns?
Ooh. See, I have to be honest because I have to be honest. You know, I am really comfortable saying no to people. I've missed weddings, I've missed funerals. And I'll just explain to people, like, I'm not in a place where I can emotionally handle going to an event around grief. Yeah, I can't, you know, whatever it is. Mm-hmm. I mean, and I've even told people, I can't financially afford to go to this event for you. Like, I mean, people will do that. It'll be like, we're going to this exotic whatever, and I'm in the middle of, like, trying to put pennies into, like, don't hit that account. I gotta take this check across town. I mean, this is real life. Yeah. And so I think that is the first thing, is just, like, I really do have a very small group of people so that I do feel comfortable with everybody I talk to and just saying, like, I can't do that right now. Like, I am the only person advocating for me, and I'm not in that place. But there's still times, like, I remember in high school I tried to opt out of this thing, and my dad was like, this is not about you. So I always remember that. Because I was like, sick, oh my God, I was like dying, like, you're an irresponsible parent. But looking back at it, there are times when it's not about you. Like, the family's going on a cruise, we can't all stay home because you're sick, so, like, take some Sudafed and let's keep it moving.
Right.
Not a good example of coronavirus. Please don't do that. Please stay home if you're ill. But when you're in those situations, my mom always gave me the best advice of when you look good, you feel good.
Yeah.
And so like not letting your feelings determine how you look outwardly, because that at least helps you to like not even blend in, but just like today, I was in. I'll speak for myself.
You can say
what still, right? Until 15 minutes ago. Then I was like, oh, hey, girl, okay. Sometimes you gotta remind yourself, even when you're not feeling your best,
you have to show
that
up.
you're more than this moment. Yeah.
Yeah. I know both of us, because we literally sent pictures of each other like, girl, I'm in a sweatshirt.
All the way. I'm loving it. I found these sweatpants I was looking for. I'm like...
Now, I appreciate like the honesty around financials, because I think there's an outward perception that people can make of you, and they think, oh, you have it. Oh, you have no idea what I have and what I don't.
As a business owner, right?
You have no idea.
I mean,
and so like, and speaking to that point, that was a conversation that I just had yesterday. I was actually supposed to be speaking in Ghana next week. Like early next week. And like I said, I have this move. I gotta pack. Like when I say I have not packed a stitch and I'm moving on Thursday, like
it's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen. We claiming it. But my thing was I had to let the organizers know whether I was paying for it or not paying for it. It was just like, look, I don't have the money to do this right now. Like I don't have the capacity. And that has been like my word, I feel like, of March. Is like, I don't have the capacity, because I think people will assume and put things on you and project things on you. And you're often expected to take those things on. We start to carry them and we walk around with this expectation of, well, this person needs this from me. This person needs this of me. But making sure that you're able to be honest with what you said earlier, Meredith, especially with your circle. And so I want to move us to the conversation of what your tribe is and what your village is. Do you want to start with tribe and then you want me to go into village, or how do you want to do it?
No, you go ahead.
Yes, because tribe is a long process, y'all.
Oh my God.
No, it's good, but yours is like broken down. Village is very.
No, I was just thinking though, if I can say something about what we were just saying about the transparency piece.
Yeah.
I think that, one of the reasons that I am transparent is because I do think that builds trust. And I know that's a big part of, I spent the weekend, everybody reading Side Hustle to Main Hustle to my kids. So we're all like over here like, oh, we got this, we know what we're doing. But that's one of the things we talked about that really resonated with me, that people, my clients thank me for that, right? But I'm just transparent. Like, I'll tell you, this is what I see as the issue that we're facing here. And it's interesting because, like, I had an event that I was sponsored to go on, but they wanted you to pay and then they were going to reimburse you. And I had my admin just send them a note to say, as an entrepreneur, I can't do that right now. Like, when I agreed to this 6 months ago, things were different. But what ended up happening was they changed the policy for everybody. So there is an advocacy when you are the one person. Like, I feel like so often we let people go with something because nobody says, like, girl, this was just too expensive. I just couldn't do this year. If we had done it next year, maybe. And give people the opportunity to change their mind or to try to meet you somewhere. But I think sometimes when we're trying to protect ourselves, we also rob somebody of the chance of supporting us or accommodating or giving advice. So I just wanted to add that as we think about when you contact your tribe, that could be a time is when you do need to get that advice about what's an alternative solution. Is this worth saying no to, or is this something where I just gotta find the money, man? I gotta make some more sales, like, because that's a real thing too.
It is. It's very real.
If Obama said I had to come to an interview tomorrow, listen. I will sell some ovaries and everything else.
Really, Meredith?
Is that a thing? Whatever you can do. I'm saying though, but I mean, if you don't know what that thing is, that you will go there for, how you gonna advocate for yourself? You'll burn yourself out going after everything.
Yeah. No,
don't get on my soapbox about advocating for yourself.
Yes, that was this weekend. So, I will say this. your village is incredibly important. Your village are the individuals that you have built your community around. I talk about this in the book, Side Hustle to Main Hustle, just how we are often well acquainted with the idea of needing a village to raise a child and having, the support system that, hey, if I need you, you can step in. I'll give you permission to discipline my child. I'll give you permission to whatever it is that's needed to make sure that that child is steered in the right direction. I believe that that same requirement is necessary when building a business or building whatever it is that you want for yourself. You have to have that village of people who will stand up for you, who will defend you, who will tell you when you're wrong, who will tell you when to go sit down, to tell you like, hey, I got you. Like, you don't have to worry about this. I'm going to take care of this for you. You need real people in your corner who you can depend on. And I think a lot of times, I'll speak for myself. I can be a yes person, not a yes person, but in the sense of very trying to accommodate other people. Like, if there's something happening, like, I will go through hell and high water to make sure that if I can do it for you, like, you're going to have it. And that's just my personality. But oftentimes, if you are in a situation and you just can't, and you feel overwhelmed because you're trying to give so much of yourself, and there's really not a whole lot to give, and there's nobody around you that understands, and there's nobody around you that's able to pour into you, then you feel stuck. You feel like, okay, I'm going out here and I'm going above and beyond for everybody else, but what are people doing for me? And it's not like it should be, oh, you do this for me, I'm going to do that for you. It shouldn't be that way. But sometimes when you are depleted, you're left standing there like, okay, what just happened? Like, where did I go wrong? And so I encourage everybody to get that team of people together. Doesn't necessarily have to be family. Get mentors, the people that you aspire to reach it to their level. Get your sister friends that understand what it's like and what it is that you're going through. You have to have somebody that understands. Like, it can't just be a team of people that are, in this lane that makes this amount of money, and you're up here and they're here. There's a level of how much are they able to relate to your situation? How much can they add value to your situation? If you can't add anything to what I'm going through, that's part of the reason why I can't talk to you about it. Because it's apples and oranges. The feedback that you're going to give me is going to come from a place of, well, do you even understand what you're saying right now? Like, does this really make sense? So you want to make sure that your village is made up of layers. People where you aspire to be, people that are understanding, and even if the people don't understand what you want, make sure they're in your corner and they will go to bat for you. Who is going to advocate for you? Who is going to make sure that if you don't have, okay, well, baby, I don't know what you out there doing, but I can watch your kids for you. I don't know what it is that your ultimate goal is, but I can do this for you. You have to have that combination of people that is your village. And so when I say I encourage you all to form that village and know who they are, who you can call for what, have them on speed dial. And part of the problem also is with mentors, a lot of times we think that they need to look like us. No, they don't. They definitely don't. They should be all hues. They should be man, woman. It does not matter. Your mentors need to be able to pour something into you. If you can figure out, like, okay, well, what is it that I'm looking for? I don't care if they're in Africa or up the street. You just need to be able to say, okay, this is what I need. These are the resources that I'm looking for. Who can I tap into? And like I said before, like, half my mentors don't even know they're my mentors. But I have them on speed dial and they answer. And to me, that is what's so essential, is making sure that you have people that you can trust and who's going to be brutally honest with you, hurt your feelings. But that's what you need, especially if you want to grow and get outside of like a comfort state. All right, so that is my definition of village and why I believe you need a village. Meredith has a beautiful description of what tribe is and what tribe breaks down to. So Meredith, can you share with us a little bit about tribe?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a beautiful bridge, right, and just another testament to how perfect our partnership is, right? Because I think that is a part of the challenge is that people don't. I mean, that was one of the things that connects us, is that you are really focused on integrating a community. You understand the need to have support, the need to have that transparency built in so that you as a whole person are supported in doing things. And tribe is really your individual way of unlocking those resources when you have them around you. Because so often as professionals, we get in our own way. We don't know how to ask for help. We don't have time to ask for help. We can't think of who could help us that's not immediately in front of us, or we don't even have the confidence to reach out or to consider somebody, like you said, who might not even be 1-2 steps ahead of us, but is like in Black Enterprise, and we're just watching them on the internet, studying everything about them. So it's that ability to see yourself and to see your life differently, and to believe that you do have some level of control here, that people are going to say yes to you when you reach out. And so tribe essentially just breaks down to managing your time, right? Considering your resources, being innovative, thinking differently about your situation, being curious, looking at your beliefs and being confident that you can do what you believe you want to do, and then being prepared to evolve. Whether it's your brand or those beliefs, you have to know that you're going to come up against challenges. And I think that's the beauty of, as you were talking about mentors, one of the things that I always say when I'm in a crisis is I'm not going to ask somebody who's never been there for directions. So, when people start calling me or people want to give me advice, or even I'll have clients that will try to tell me like, well, we should do this. Okay, well, one of us has been there and one of us hasn't. One of us survived it and one of us is looking at it from the bottom of the mountain. Now, do you want to spend time on your idea, or do you want to just follow the path? And it goes back to what we said in the beginning about knowing well enough how much time, how long can you live like this? Mm-hmm. And having a mentor or somebody that you can call to just ask questions like that about like, dang, is this really that bad? Like, I know I deal with you all the time, like, because I'm a very, like, courageous person. I'm like, oh, I think it's okay. And they'll be like, girl, the house is on fire. You got to get out. But you need that. So I think there's also that level of, when you talk about time management, where are you fitting in time to build those relationships before you need it? Because what you don't want to do is be calling people up when you cry on the phone and they're like, who is this? And they say, what conference? Ooh, how did you get my contact information? Like, that's not a good look. So you have to really start with people and sharing with them what it is you want to do, you know, what are the values that you bring, so that they feel really, like you said, like they want to go to bat for you when you do have a problem. They want to advocate for you, and they know that you're going to live up to who they believe you are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, absolutely. So what are some of the different ways that you can implement tribe into your life?
So I'll give you an easy one that I do. You know, every Friday I send 3 emails to people that I've been meaning to catch up with. It's just an easy way of making it manageable for me to, like, follow up. There's always people during the week that I'm like, ooh, it's not an immediate, urgent thing. If we go back to my kindergarten graphics, it's not a do now. But it's something that I kind of like delegate, and it makes me feel good. It pours into somebody, and I try to make a point of telling them something I noticed or something I see for them, or it's not an ask. There's never an ask in there unless it's like, I know a tip from your book, but unless it's something I'm going to treat them to. Mm-hmm. You know, so like I want to take you to lunch, I want to take you to coffee, something like that. But that's a really easy tip when people think like it's so hard to do a mentor, I have to get like in a formal program, I have to. No, you just have to intentionally build a relationship, like put it on the calendar. I check in on LinkedIn. I have that on my calendar just to go and like support people, cheer them on, see what people are up to. So, I mean, that's something to think about, are just like simple things like that. Instead of spending that time on social media, on something with people who, to your point, you know, might be friends, might be whatever, but are they intentionally the people that you want to be building a relationship with? Because for a lot of us professionals, that community is on LinkedIn.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Now, I want to shout out to everybody who is listening. We have somebody in Ghana who's checked in. Can do. Hello, hello, hello. And I want to take this opportunity to let you guys know that you can actually now text office hours to 31996 to subscribe to make sure that you get our show whenever you want in your inbox. Whenever we have new content coming out, you will be alerted. And now it would be the perfect time for you guys to ask us questions. It can be around how do you build the perfect support system? How do you know that these are good people to include in your village or your tribe? Or if you just have questions around crisis management, like how do you deal with managing all of the things that you're dealing with on top of these chaotic situations, or i.e. the coronavirus that is going around, everybody knows. How do you balance it all without feeling stuck and without feeling like you're ready to have a nervous breakdown? So shoot us over your questions or text us again, office hours to 31996. All right, now Meredith, when it comes to your support team, what would you say, or like what types of people are a part of your starting 5 lineup?
Ooh, starting 5. Well, I definitely have to say my admin is number 1 because she helps with making sure that I have the space to like pivot, and she does all of the like when I need to clear something and do all of that. Something that I learned after a few years in business was like that takes time too. You know, just clearing your calendar and rescheduling people and making them feel good about that and taking the guilt off of me. So I would definitely say from a business perspective, she's definitely in that group. I don't really have a big, it depends on the crisis. Mm-hmm. I have more media people. I have peers that I typically reach out to who seem like insane and crazy things. And I like to ask them, like, I think this is a crisis, my checklist says this is a crisis, but I just need a human being to be like, girl, you got a crisis.
Well, even if it's not a crisis, just your starting 5 team of people that you consult with.
I don't consult with that many people. Seriously, I have like advisors who I consider to be at the same level who I check in to do that, like, is it a crisis? I have mentors at the point that like you have to unlock something at another level.
Yeah.
And then I have sponsors that I just try to like let them know, hey, I did something and it didn't blow up.
So wait, when you say your mentors, you to reach out to unlock something, talk to us a little bit about more what you mean.
So, you know, typically my mentor is somebody who's a couple levels above me. Mm-hmm. And so when I'm looking at doing something that would be taking me to the next level, there's probably some issues that I'm worried about. So it could be, you know, how do you manage additional travel? How do you deal with difficult personality types, right? What are maybe cultural things to look out for? Or, you know, my mentors, one of the reasons they're mentors is because they know me. So I'll ask them just like, this is what I'm facing. What am I missing? What should I think about? And they already know to be like, you need to not just breathe. Like, usually their advice is like, calm down. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But like, I'll use them to if I'm going to like pitch to the media, I'll send them a pitch in advance to say, can you read this? Give me feedback, and is there anybody else you think would want to see it? So when I think about that, like unlocking, it's more about like I have a bigger vision, but a mentor usually can give you the specific steps that they would recommend because again, they've been down this path, like they've gotten to the promised land, so they're like, here you go, yeah.
All right, so earlier we talked about when not to just jump out there. If you really don't know what you're talking about, or, you know, if you just feel like, I need to say something, right? Because there's a crisis happening. I feel like this is more of a question that I would answer, but I'm going to toss it to you first. But what would
just
be...
toss it to yourself.
No, I don't want to toss it to myself.
I like to ask myself a question.
I'm going to toss it to you first. But, like, what would you say are, like, the essential elements for somebody to have If they know that they have something worthy to say to the media, to put out there, to potentially speak on a particular crisis situation.
Oh, I think you should answer that, because I already went through the things at the beginning. I think I already answered my part. I think you definitely should answer it.
Okay.
What do you think, Angel, are the things that somebody should have in place before they speak out to the media?
All right. Well, I would say that I think it's important to have a media kit. You should clearly have something that has a high resolution photo of yourself, a bio, a very abbreviated bio, and it can direct people to a longer bio. You also want to make sure that you have talking points or topics up there. Like, what do you speak on? Like, you can call people and say, oh yeah, I'm a subject matter expert on this. Okay, show me. Like, show me clippings. So add links to where people can go to see you speaking on this topic. And also make sure that you have in there your contact information, which seems like very like remedial, like duh. But oftentimes people will forget to put, well, how do I get in contact with you? Another really good thing is to put like an overnight contact number. If there's some breaking news or some type of crisis that's happening overnight, have something there where people know, like, okay, these are her office hours, but I can get in contact with her at this number, even if it's 2 o'clock in the morning. So you want to just make it very simple for people to be able to say, okay, here's somebody that we've checked them out. They know their stuff. Let's get them in here so we can have them or go to this scene to be able to talk on whatever this issue is. So those are the things that I think that are necessary if you want to build your kit, build your brand around being a real subject matter expert. That headshot, abbreviated bio, have your contact information, the topics that you're able to speak on. There's one more thing I feel like I'm missing.
A media list?
Yeah, you can have a media list so you can send it. And put your media list in your Google Docs. Don't store it just on your computer. If you create your media list in a Google Doc, then you always have access to it. No matter where you are, you can pull it up on your phone or at somebody else's computer if you need to shoot out some contact information. The other thing is write a little brief description of, like, outside of your bio and outside of your topics, just a description of like what it is that you're passionate about and why you're passionate about that particular subject. Just gives people a little bit more insight into who you are and why you're passionate about the topics that you want to be able to speak on. So those are my suggestions and recommendations around building out your media kit. Yeah. Thank you, Meredith, for tossing me that awesome question.
Well, I think it is. I mean, building your brand in the media is a specific thing. I think one thing that I just want to caution people on is that you're not an expert until somebody asks you a question. So, like, I think one of the things that I see very often is that people think you're an influencer before you've done the work to be an influencer. So I think those are good exercises of looking at your bio, thinking about what you're passionate about, what are those topics, because it's not like going to work if you're just randomly doing things. Like, there really is not overnight success. People have done work in an area, they genuinely know information, they're professionals. So just, doing that, like, gut check. And that's another time that, like, advisors are good to look at that kit and be like, so here, where you said that you're Superwoman without the cape, what were you going for?
So wait, let's go back. I want you to go a little bit deeper. You said you're only an expert if somebody asks you a question.
Yeah, so you have to be clear about what are you an expert of. So for example, I'm not going to call up NASA and say, I'd like to talk about why the moon and the sun were both out at 6 a.m. They didn't ask me, I'm not an expert. Nobody asked me that question. If, however, I'm in communications and today I've gotten 7 calls about how I would handle responding to a crisis that's happening locally, boom! Now I got something. That's a sign. Go run tell that. Like, if you have an answer to that question when they call, then go up the ladder to scale that. But sometimes you see people who are jumping out there on, like, I just want to comment, but
nobody asked you. Got it.
That's the first thing I ask people is, like, who asked you? this question. It's really interesting. I mean, you can, especially if you're curious, right? I even fall into this of like, I was very curious today about why the sun and the moon were both out. Like, is this what Prince was talking about in 1999? Like, everybody was going to the end. But again, I'm not an astrophysicist.
So, if you are an expert, and let's say today, let's say there are 7 people who reached out and said, I need help with this situation. What do you think? How should I handle this? What do you think that you should do to help you build your audience base around what it is that you're doing? I have the answer, but I just wanted to see what you say.
What? Can you stop?
No! Because I want to know what you would think. Like, I want to know what you would do.
Well, I think one, let's acknowledge that you're coming from a media perspective.
I know.
Often, right. Very often, my situation with clients is to avoid the media, right? So I think that's good for people listening to know. So we're going to probably have 2 different answers because I typically, sometimes you do, but no, usually not. So what's the question again?
Okay. So if 7 people came after you today, contacted you and said, hey, I need help in this particular area. And from that question, a light bulb goes off. You're like, clearly people are contacting me to solve this problem. What do you do?
So communications, I start to build content then around those questions and figure out, okay, there's obviously a problem here. One, how can I create a template or something so that next time I have that solution faster, or I can provide that as like a preventative in the future. Like next time I'm going to know how to do this. So to your point before, I'm like very systems apparently and process oriented. So that's children. And then the third thing I think when people start reaching out to you is to review those materials that you have, if you've already done that, and make sure that this is something that you're telling people is something that you do, that you're not missing out on promoting that strength. Since obviously you have it. So figuring out and calling somebody like Angel about how do I market this skill and make sure that it's profitable and I'm making the most not only for people's education, but to scale it. What's your media perspective, Angel?
So I love the reasons that you gave, right? And I think that they're great. And those are like your long-term, like turnaround time things, like where even if your clients don't ask, you can push those out to them. Like, hey, here are some tips on how to deal with X, Y, or Z, right? So I absolutely love your response. The media person in me, I would have a press release go out. I would build a press release around, this is what's happening, and here's a subject matter expert, and being able to take quotes from you to build out and then push that out where you get greater visibility around what it is that you know. And instead of it being 7 people, it could potentially turn into like 30 new clients, right? That way you're drawing in a greater reach of what it is that you're already doing. And if you already have those documents crafted, now when people contact you, you have a contact page that people can put in their email address and say, hey, click here to get a free download of my tips around how to handle this situation. That's how I would handle it.
I love it. No, I think there's something about, like, I just feel compelled to help anybody listening. Like, this is how corporate communications works, right? It's never just a team of one. That's something to your point at the beginning about isolation. But the differences in the opinions and in the advice is because you're essentially external media relations, right? And I'm more management, internal crisis communications. So the goals are very different. My goals are how do you educate the organization, make sure nobody says something that's out of line, and prepare yourself for this onslaught of more information. So if that's your situation, that's what you're worried about, you don't have a product, you don't have something you're directing people to, you do need to have a plan for that. But there's also the other component of it where a lot of people get stuck there. And so they don't take advantage of the wave. They never really get to the outside part, which is then the frustration on the agency, advertising, external media side, which is like, we gotta tell people now. Like you gotta get out there, you gotta maximize it. So I think that is something for business owners or for professionals. When you're thinking about how you add value, you don't have to do all of it, Again, I feel like we're a walking advertisement for you have to understand what's the problem that you're solving, and then partner with people who can do what you do, but do it differently, so that you can be in your spot, and I can stay in my spot, and the clients that we work with together are like, I'm done. They got it.
Yes. All right. So you guys are watching. So send us some questions if you have any questions around even how to build your media kit. How do you get greater visibility around if there is a problem that you're solving and you're not quite sure, okay, well, how do I broaden my reach? How do I broaden my scope to ensure that I'm hitting the right target audience and pulling in the right clientele? I think that's another important thing to make sure that you're cognizant of. Everybody is not your client. So you have to be very intentional with how you're marketing and trying to attract the ideal client to your business. So, what are some of the different things that you're doing? If you want some feedback or some suggestions, we are here to help. We got about 15 minutes left in the show, so that could be your time to get that free consultation. So send us some comments, some questions, and yes, we would love to hear from you. All right. So
I was going to say, in the meantime, one of the things that I know I've gotten questions about this week are that with coronavirus, a lot of people, a lot of corporations especially, are doing remote work. They're not going into the office. Now they're at home all day. And it's been a big thing about how can you be productive? How can you still build that community, have that trust, have those conversations, and just be like, get something done when you're working from home. So I know both of us, although you have different workspaces, but I wanted to offer that. Like, what are your tips for being productive when you're a remote worker?
So I feel like I am an amazing remote worker. I probably get 10 times the work done at home.
You better get words of affirmation to yourself. Words of affirmation to yourself.
I would say I'm like so much better worker at home than I am going to anybody's office. And for me, it's just because I talk too much. If I'm in the office, I'm going to be going around talking to people. Hey, girl, time out.
Hold up. I'd like to give Angela a shout out for self-awareness. Because I can totally see how if I was in the office with you, I'd be like, listen, I got to work for a minute.
Yeah, I know myself.
People. Yeah.
I do. So, working from home, I am able to set those parameters, those boundaries, and make sure ain't nobody to talk to unless I get on the phone, and I rarely do. So, but I think that oftentimes people are battling between watching TV and trying to get work done, or washing clothes, or cooking. If you are not a multitasker, then baby, you're not working. You're not. You're at home, you're chilling, right? So making sure that you have that time where you dedicate and allocate to, okay, I'm going to turn my phone off, or I'm going to do this to make sure that I can strictly focus on whatever the task is at hand.
You said if you're not a multitasker.
Yeah, if you're not.
Yeah.
If you're not. If you're a multitasker, I'm a multitasker. If you're not a multitasker, it's a lost cause.
Oh, really? I feel like you said, you can set boundaries. I feel like if you're not a multitasker, so for example, I'm not doing dishes and laundry during my business hours. Like that's how I keep doing those things. Like somebody can come and deliver mail. They know I ain't here. No, I'm not coming to the door. Right. But when I first started, I was doing all of the things, and it felt super productive. Which I think is something like warning people. You can be very busy, but you got nothing done today.
Right.
Yeah, that's tough. Okay, I just want to clarify because I heard something different.
Yeah, no. No, absolutely. If you can multitask, go for it. But I know, for instance, my ex-husband is not a multitasker. He has to focus, zoom in, right? And so he might have his computer open, but if ESPN is on, baby, whatever's on that computer is not being paid any attention to. So being cognizant even of how do you work? How do you work best? So I would definitely say that. I would also set alarms. Set an alarm. If you know you have a meeting and you're working from home, and it's very likely that you could forget about that meeting, set an alarm. Not just the one on your calendar. Have something ring. If you have an Alexa, say, Alexa, remind me in 10 minutes I need to have this meeting. Whatever you need to do to make sure that you are always prepared and nobody sees a difference in your work. If anything, you want them to feel like you perform better when you work at home. So they be like, yo, how about you just work from home today?
Can I answer that one?
Yes.
I also use reminders for when you gotta get off the phone. Or like because you'll be on meetings, and if you don't have a meeting after that, people, because you're working from home, will be like, well, now that the meeting's over, let's just talk. And that's fine, but you still have to get your work done.
Right.
So like, I just want to throw that in there. Those reminders work both ways. And an alarm to tell you when to stop working, so you don't end up working at 2, 3 in the morning. And then when you have the meeting at 2:30 in the afternoon, you sleep. Because it doesn't work that way.
Right.
That's not remote work. That's work from anywhere. Work when you just, I did it at 2 a.m. and schedule it for the next day. It's real.
It is. So yeah. So what are some of your recommendations to be able to work efficiently from home?
So some of mine are like so simple, Angel, but I've been doing this for 3 years. And my number one is like a workplace one. You cannot drink until your work is done. Like it's really easy when you first start to be like, whoa, I'm remote work. But you have to be disciplined in that you're going to have the same standards for your workplace behavior as if you were going somewhere else. So like I still get dressed. I don't work in my pajamas because somebody told me like right when I first came out that she had been in her pajamas for 3 weeks. And she was like, I have to quit this job. Yeah, she was like, I just realized I haven't bathed and I haven't. So I always think that in my mind. So I get up, I have a 9 o'clock, to the point of alarms, where at that point I've done something to like start my life. And then the other thing is like I always limit myself to just 3 things because I think you can be overly ambitious because you're remote and you don't have those like physical distractions to look at. But just as many things pop up, whether it's real or planning or whatever. And so every day I try to like limit and still have just as many boundaries as if I was in the workplace and people were trying to, oh, can I just pick your brain? Oh, can I just... You can after I've done my 3 things. Yeah. So that's my rule. It's like I try to have all of my work done by 2 o'clock and then we can kiki and kick it.
So let me ask you this. How do you balance when it's not that you're remotely working for another company, but as a business owner? Because I feel like, and maybe this is why my answers are slightly different than yours, because I feel like it's a very different beast. Because now it's not just one company that, oh, I got to check in. But now, let's say you have 10 different clients, and this one calls at this time, and you're going to be getting off this meeting, but another one's like, how do you balance when you're at home and dealing with all of these different people that you have kind of obligations to?
I think you really have to train your clients how to communicate with you. So I really do rely on Faith. She is really the first line of contact. My admin, yeah. And then I have on my schedule, so like in the morning, I'll respond to urgent emails. But then I think we talked about before, like, I'm not available all the time because when I have appointments, then I've got to be like focused on this person. So I try to, when I'm bringing clients in, explain to them, just like they do like at the doctor's office when they're like, it might be a longer wait, but when I'm with you, I'm going to really be there with you. Yeah. But I think for me, that was a really, in fact, I have this thing on my phone about like what it looks like for your business to run you and what it looks like when you run your business. And for me, it was too much. Like whenever I have clients that are texting me in the night and all that, like when it's a legit crisis, and I really do train them on, this is when it is a time to call Meredith, like you do your kids, like this is when you call Mom. If you're not bleeding, if you're not bleeding or something, yeah. But otherwise, I can't take on all of your stuff. There has to be some productivity, some connection to something you're paying me for. And I think the issue where I find it more than being a business owner is, if I can keep it all the way real, it's when you're friends with your clients. And so you don't know, they get in because they're not calling as a client, so they don't go through my admin. They're like, hey girl, how you doing, blah, blah, blah. By the way, what you think I should do about, I'm not on the clock right now. So I think that it is like a culture I brought with me when I left corporate of like, homie, don't play that.
Yeah. No, that's good. That's real good. And see, I don't have a lot of like friends as clients. So that makes it...
I have clients that become friends, right? Or for them, it becomes like we build a relationship. Maybe that's the better... I feel like we all define friends differently, but what they're dealing with is outside of the scope of what they originally asked you to do.
Right. No.
And if you love, I'm going to refer you, or... Because I do.
Yeah. No, I agree. All right, so we are down to our last 5 minutes. If you have any questions, please share your questions, or if you have any comments, we would love to know that you are out there and that you are tuned in. Yes, that's part
of
like,
if you're working remotely, I was going to say. I want to know.
Yeah, who's not going into the office because of this virus? Like, you feel like you're not...
Who's just impacted? Like, can we talk about that? Like, this requires such patience. I think that's the thing with being a business owner. Like, when you're an employee and things like this happen, you're like, oh, I gotta go to work. I've been seeing people on Instagram, they're like, I ain't got to go into work. When you're a business owner, I'm like, is accounting working though? Is that department? Are they getting things done?
I think the other, right. I think the other part as a business owner that is sometimes scary is this going to affect my business?
Yes!
Is this going to affect my bottom line? Because y'all not going to work. And is my business enough of value that you're still going to pay for it? So making sure that, like, I mean, because I guess it was, what's today? Today, Monday? I guess it was Friday.
Wait, on Tuesday.
It's Tuesday? Sorry. I don't know what day it is. Sorry. It's been that kind of the last couple of days. But yeah, like, people, like, are really like, yo, I know, like, I don't work for the government, and they have shutdowns, but I feel like this could shut some stuff down, too. You know, this virus.
Oh, yeah.
And so a lot of people have, like, major events have been shut down. South by Southwest was canceled. And this is kind of bad. But, like, you know how I said earlier, I had to let the people know, like, yo, I can't travel to Ghana next week.
Yeah.
But I literally just found out today an email came out due to Corona. That event has been postponed. So I'm like, oh, yay. Like, in that regard. But that's money. You know, it impacts, like, how are things, like, your revenue. I mean, we have an event coming up in a couple weeks. So I'm trying to, like, hold off before I make any, you know, decisions because it's a local event. But still, like, you just want to make sure that people are informed, people know your value, which is why you still have to stay current. If you are a business owner and you are home and your clients are like, well, right now we're trying to take it easy here, you still need to show your value. So whether that's creating content that you're pushing out, that you stay relevant, you stay top of mind, you need to do that. Otherwise, people are going to be like, when you come back or when it's time for your bill, oh, sorry, baby. Like, we need to put a kibosh on this for right now because we had some unexpected downturns in our spending or whatever. So make sure that you're constantly being relevant and keeping your clients informed of how you are adding value to their life, how you are adding value to whatever their business is.
If I just add to that, I think relevant is one thing. I think the other piece is having a relationship where you can really partner with them. That's one of the things, like, I've been, Angel knows, like, I'm praying every day. I'm really excited about an opportunity, but nobody is able to meet. And so this is not something that is like, oh, if I just annoy them enough, if I harass them enough, if this is the time that I want to go after them after a contract, that too can be terrible because
Yeah.
they're between a rock and a hard place. So these are the times when, going back to Vision 2020, you got to have that 7 or 8 streams of income so that you can pivot to something else right now. Because if you're a speaker, if you're an author, if you're out there and you had events as a part of your marketing and lead generation, we got to come up with a different thing. So you're seeing a lot of people pivot to technology, which I think is an important skill and one that we want everybody at office hours to be developing.
Yeah.
And I'm thankful we've had this opportunity because this is definitely sharpened my skills.
Yeah, no, and I absolutely love this. Veronica, aka my mother, said, yes, I agree to what you were saying, Meredith.
Hey girl, hey.
So yeah, and I think that it's just like really important that, again, that value add. You have to show people, going back to Vision 2020, what problem do you solve? Even in crisis. Mm-hmm. What do you solve? Because if you're solving something for somebody and you're making their headache go away, they will find the money to pay you. They will make sure that your business is still being funded. So that is like one of the essential things that I hope that if you are working remotely or if you are on leave or if you have these fears of, well, is my business going to sustain this coronavirus? Make sure that you're staying relevant through solving that problem. All right. Yes, ma'am.
I was going to close them out with 3 action items if you're in that situation, right? Number 1 would be take this time to get clear on your value. Like really pay attention to how you're using your time, what people are thanking you for, and what you're doing that is really an asset during this time of crisis. 2, we said it at the beginning, but I want to reiterate it again, self-love and self-care. When you're going through a crisis, take the time to invest in yourself because you have to physically, mentally get through this. And 3, don't go through it alone. That's the number 1 mistake that we all make. So, subscribe to Office Hours, connect with us, text Office Hours to 31996 and get the advice and the support and just the camaraderie to know that you can handle what is in front of you because we believe in you.
Yes, we do. We do. Again, just to reiterate what Meredith said, we have the information up on the screen. It is text Office Hours to 31996. And that will be where you can connect with us and also make sure that you subscribe. The link is, or the website is visibilitymatters.us. And be sure to follow us on social media. You can follow me directly at Angel N. Livis, and you can follow Meredith at Meredith M. Crosby. That is our show for today. Any last minute words, Meredith? All right. Well, I pray that this information has been beneficial to you all and that you guys enjoyed it. And we will see you the same place, same time next week right here on Facebook. Again, let's stay connected. Until next time, be blessed.